This is your review for section 10. Remember, as you're looking at section 10, the first thing we're talking about is profit. So as we're looking at profit, we want to make sure we can see what types of profit there are. Defining profit for us is just taking your total revenue minus your total cost. So total revenue minus total cost are going to equal your profit. As you go through, where do we come up with our total revenue? Remember, total revenue is just price times quantity. My total costs are my fixed costs plus my variable costs. As I look at different types of costs, I also know that my costs can be explicit or implicit. So as I'm looking at my types of costs, costs are explicit, which is straight cash, homie, or implicit, which is basically your opportunity costs. Remember, accountants only deal with this. So accounting profit only deals with my explicit costs. Implicit costs, this is what economists, they take both of these things together. They look at the straight cash and they look at the opportunity cost to be able to figure out, hey, this is how much the true cost of something is. Then as you went through your PowerPoint and you're looking at your different stuff, it talked about those accounting versus economic profit. And remember, economists, they're looking for normal profit, which simply means zero economic profit. That zero economic profit is a big deal because it looks like, hey, that's not very much, but in the end, it's as best as we possibly can do. Then you went into the next section, which is talking about like maximizing profit. As you maximize profit, just remember we're always looking for the margins. So the margin is the per unit, right? So what is my per unit cost and my per unit benefit? So really I want my marginal cost to equal my marginal revenue, and that was that unit, right? All about the margin. Remember, you get the margin by taking the change in your total, whatever that is, divided by the change in the quantity. So if it's total cost divided by the change in quantity, or total revenue divided by change in quantity, whatever that is, it's the change divided by the change. If the change in quantity is 1, then it's just, subtracting the difference. After that, we talked about the production function and how you really have inputs and outputs, and your inputs are things that are going to be like either your hourly workers or a salaried worker, right? Those types of things. And we said that those people are going to give us diminishing returns. So as you add more people in, they're going to end up giving you less of a result in terms of output for them, right? You add more of a fixed variable into some sort of or more of a variable into a fixed output there, you're going to be getting diminishing return. So like if I add another variable worker, like an hourly wage worker, into my fixed plant that I have, then that's what you got, right? You're going to have less because your plant is that fixed cost. So you can't put lots of variable input into a fixed input without seeing some sort of diminishing returns happen. Firm costs, this is your fixed cost, variable cost. We did that. Marginal cost, you did that. If you're graphing that, remember, as this looks, your marginal costs are what's going to drive the bus. Your marginal costs are going to look sort of this Nike swoosh shape, right? And these are your per unit costs. What's going to happen then is your average total costs are going to come down and then up as your per unit cost is lower and then higher. So this is my smiley face, my average total cost. And then I got my average variable cost, which is going to be sort of smirky looking because they're going to be like what's really happening is this vertical distance right here is my fixed cost on average averaging away. So remember, your average fixed cost plus your average variable cost equals your average total cost, right? Those things are here. So even though I don't necessarily have to graph my average fixed cost, I can see the distance as I go up. Now you had to fill in a bunch of charts to be able to calculate where these lines come through, but you have to know what those lines are going to look like, and they basically always look the same. After we did that part, then you had the last part was just dealing with long run costs. So as you look at your long run costs, remember, I can take these average total cost curves, and as I get bigger, I might see multiples of those. So I might see like one average total cost curve, then another average total cost curve, then another average total cost curve. If I were to take the bottom of all of those average total cost curves, right, and I'm going like this underneath them all, that is my long run average total cost curve. And as I see that long run ATC there, that is where I would be, depending on how much I was going to produce, that would be what average total cost curve I would want to be on. So if I was going to produce right here, I would pick my ATC number 2, because that's where I'm going to bottom out on my lowest costs. So that'd be how that one works in terms of your long run average total cost curve. The last thing is your free response questions. Now, we did some of your free response questions, or I posted those answers in Google Classroom. You can see a lot of them are all the same. It's all going to be dealing with number of employees and then how many you should hire. So it's going to happen where you get like number of employees, and it's going to be like 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then each one of those employees is going to give you some sort of total output. And if you're at 0, you're going to get 0. Your first guy is going to be like 15. The next guy is going to be something like 30. The next guy 45, and the next guy 50. So what they're going to want you to do is probably take the margin. Now remember, you can only margin a total. So if you take the margins here, right, the in-betweens, I can come up with my marginal output. When I do that, my first worker is bringing in 15 units. My second worker is bringing in 15 units. My third worker is bringing in, oh boy, 15 units. My fourth worker is bringing in 5 units. So now, if each one of those units costs, let's say, $1, so the value of my marginal output, well, we can say $2. Let's say this is a $2 of value, right? This is my product. This is how much it's worth. So now this is worth $30. This is worth $30. This guy's worth $30, and this guy's worth 10. So if I was going to pay $10 for my cost, this is my marginal revenue up here. My marginal cost would be 10, 10, 10, 10, right, to get each one of those workers. So I would hire the first worker, the second worker, the third worker, and I would hire the fourth worker. But if for some reason, like, I don't know, crazy happens and we want to go up to $15, if this marginal cost over here changed to 15s, then I would not hire that worker because he's only bringing in $10 of value. Instead, I would go hire the third worker, 1, 2, 3, because that guy's bringing in 30 and he only cost me 15. And if he comes and asks for a raise, I'd give him a raise too. I give him a raise up to $30 in terms of overall wage, because that cost, if he's bringing in $30 of value, I'm willing to pay $30 in costs. That would be how this unit looks. If you have any questions, send me an email, and hope that review was good for you. Thanks. Bye.